Okay, the topic today from me is economic outlook and business market opportunities in South Africa. So let's start off, by looking at some of the economic indicators in the past 3 years in South Africa. Economic recovery in 2010 was moderate, but better than expected, as you can see the figures, expanding by 2.8% after a contraction of 1.7% in 2009. That led to other good news. Tax revenue exceeded projections, and the budget deficit fell to 5.3% of the GDP from a projected 6.2%. The stock market's all-share index rose by 19% to nearly match its record high of in 2008. Inflation was reduced to over 4%, and interest rates fell to a 30-year low. Net gold and foreign exchange reserves stood at about 43.5 billion at the end of 2010. Look at the economic outlooks of South Africa. The Bureau of Economic Research has revised its economic growth forecast for South Africa slightly upward from 3.4% to 3.8% in 2011. Growth for 2012 is forecast at 3.9%. The improved outlook stems from a more optimistic projection of household consumption expenditure. The result is that gross domestic expenditure, the broadest measure of domestic spending that includes fixed investment, government expenditure, and inventory investment, accelerate to growth of 4.8% during 2011 from a projected 4.3% in 2010. Recent economic data strongly suggests that GDP growth accelerated towards 4% in the fourth quarter of 2010. With the more upbeat data following a loss of growth momentum in mid-2010, this was when the economy expanded only by 2.6% in the third quarter. Importantly, the growth recovery today has not been broad-based, with robust consumer spending providing most of the impetus, while fixed investment remains static, although slowly gaining traction. Global economic prospects has also improved despite sovereigns, especially Europeans. Debt concerns and rising fears about a build-up of especially emerging market inflationary pressure. GDP growth is expected to remain just below 4% at 3.9% for 2012, a marginal upward adjustment from the 3.7% expected previously. The BER said consumer spending growth is set for further marginal acceleration in 2012, while the private business fixed investment is expected to pick up at a faster pace. The improved GDP performance should be accompanied by employment growth, but with output growth projects to remain below 4%, only modest employment gains are expected. After 322,000 formal non-agriculture sector jobs were lost in 2009-2010, the BR forecasted only 267,000 formal sector jobs will be created in 2011 and 2012. This means that even at the end of 2012, the level of employment was still below the peak reached during 2008. Nevertheless, the projected employment gains, along with sustained strong wage increases and further rollout of government social grant program, are expected to be the key driver of real disposable income and consumer spending. Consumer inflation. South Africa's consumer inflation reached to 5.3% in July 2011, showing the fastest growth over the past 17 months. Yet it remains within the target range 3% to 6% of the South African Reserve Bank's projection. However, the inflation outlook is becoming unconstructive due to the rising global food and oil prices. To cope with rising inflation, the South African Reserve Bank will be vigilant in its monetary policy stance on inflation. In 2012, CPI is forecast to average 5.7%. Looking towards to 2012, higher economy-wide capacity utilization rates, multiple years of double-digit electricity prices rises, and continued projects robust wage increases may result in a further acceleration in price pressures. Inflation rate. On the interest rate. On the interest rate front, the combination of rising inflation profile, the recent weakening of the rand exchange rate versus the US dollar, and strong consumer spending argues against a further reduction. While the central bank is likely to hold off on raising the interest rate for as long as possible, it is forecast a first 50 basis point rate hike at the end of 2011, to be followed by another 100 basis point worth of rate hikings during the first quarter of 2012. Rand. While the rand has outperformed other currencies in 2010, it has substantially weakened sharply so far in 2011. Since the start of this year, the rand has not only underperformed versus comparable currencies such as the Aussie dollar and the US dollar. Furthermore, the losses have not been limited to only against the US dollar. The rand is down 10% versus a basket of currencies of SA major trading partners in 2011. The Bureau for Economic Research does not expect the currency to continue to weaken at the same pace as seen since the start of this year. A number of factors, including low developed country interest rates and high commodity prices, should continue to support the local unit. The rand is expected to end in 2011 around the current level of rand 8.23 to a US dollar. Hong Kong's trade with South Africa. Hong Kong's import from South Africa amounted to $659 million in 2010. Major import items such as fruits and nuts, not including oil nuts, fresh and dry seafood, pearls, precious and semi-precious stones, silver, platinum, and aluminium. On the other hand, Hong Kong's total export to South Africa amount to US $764 million in 2010. Major export items include telecommunication equipment and parts, musical instrument and parts and accessories, sound recording apparatus, toys, games, and sporting goods, and articles of apparel and textile fabrics and footwear. Market opportunities in South Africa. While South Africa produces many products of world-class quality for export, it is also a major importer of diverse products from most countries, from pharmaceutical to telecommunication. South Africa is an advanced consumer of the latest on offer from international sources. Agriculture products. South Africa supplements local agricultural production with imports, key among this being consumer-oriented products, forestry products, and intermediate products. One of the mainstays of the South African economy, the agricultural sector, holds many opportunities, with both large commercial and emerging farmers in areas such as capital investment, training, equipment, and services supply. The other opportunities is airport retailing. Airports Company South Africa, ACSA, handles about 90% of country's aviation requirements, operating 3 international airports, OR Tambo International, Cape Town International, and King Saka in Durban. 7 national airports in Port Elizabeth, East London, George, Kimberley, Upington, Bloemfontein, and Pilanesberg near Sun City. Encouraged by potentially lucrative retail and property sectors, ACSA has identified opportunities in airport retailing and continue to develop both airport infrastructures and peripheral properties. Computer software and services opportunities. One of the main areas of growth is the demand from small and medium-sized companies for high-end computer systems. This is set to become a major target for IT companies in the near future. The South African government is also expected to be a major purchaser of software. South Africa imports some 80% of this software from the USA, with the balance from Israel, Germany, UK, and France. Pharmaceuticals opportunities. More than $1 billion worth of pharmaceuticals are sold in South Africa annually, and the market is expected to grow substantially. Dispensing occurs via private channels, dispensing doctors, retail pharmacies, retail chains, private and public institutions, industrial clinics, and private and government hospitals. Food and beverages opportunities. South Africa has always had a well-developed food and beverage industry, partly because of the country's major agriculture activities and partly because of its relatively sophisticated food requirements. During the apartheid years, the food industry developed mainly to satisfy the domestic market. And as growth was limited by local requirement, a consolidation of the major companies took place. Since South Africa has become a member of the global market, a number of multinational companies have formed partnerships with local food companies, and new opportunities have opened up. Franchises. Key sectors for these franchises are building, offices and home services, automotive products and services, entertainment and leisure, hair, health and beauty, printing and photographic development, and restaurants. Opportunities in giftware market. South Africa has an expanding consumer base and a growing disposable incomes. And South African consumers are prepared to pay a higher premium for international brand products. Opportunities in railway sector. Over the last 20 years, thousands of kilometers of South African railways have suffered losses of traffic and now need upgrading, or are out of service due to lack of capital investment and maintenance of existing infrastructure. The South African government is aware that the railways are critical to the economic and social development of the countries and are committed to addressing the problem. Opportunities lies in the state-of-the-art equipment, operations, services, and investment. Sorry to jump to that. Opportunities to security and safety equipment. This is a strong growth in the private security industry's technology sector, such as CCTV, digital surveillance equipment, sophisticated access control system such as a smart card technology and IT system. Many cities have introduced surveillance cameras, and businesses are increasingly updating systems with latest technologies. Opportunities in telecommunication services sector. The South African telecom market is expected to grow by 14% by 2004. As the sector's liberalization continues, the South African telecommunications market will see a second fixed-line national operator compete with the incumbent Telkom. The provision of state-owned signal satellite distributor, Centec, with an international license is also in the pipeline. Opportunities in the tourism sector. Given its significant contribution to the economy, the development of a strong tourism industry is a high priority for the South African government, with many incentives and development schemes underway. Opportunities exist for companies in hotel furnishing and equipping, but a much broader range of opportunities exist in this thriving sector. Water and wastewater sector. South African government is committed to ensuring all its citizens have access to a minimum standard of potable water and sanitization. Many South African municipalities are looking to overseas companies to help them to address these problems through concessions or management contracts. There have been early successes, and it is expected there are many more opportunities for water utilities contractors to win future business. Ladies and gentlemen, I have briefly finished my presentation on economics, outlook, and market opportunities in South Africa. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.